and he didn't miss one fucking note. The rest of the show had been a blur. But that feeling? No one could take that from him. It was the best night of his career, or at least it had been for about 3 hours. Stone Street was a hard partying band, and the end of a grueling 9 weeks on the road was as good a reason to party as any. Limos deposited them at the hotel where the booze flowed, weed was plentiful, and there was more than enough high-grade cocaine and half-naked women to go around. It was tough, but he knew where to draw the line. The guilt he felt from cheating on Katie 20 years earlier had never left him. The risk of a few moments of pleasure wasn't worth losing the only other good thing in his life. He tried to stay away from the hard stuff, too, but he was only human. If he needed a little something now and then, he wasn't hurting anybody. But last night, the shit had finally hit the fan. Fueled by whiskey and coke and a few hours' resentment, Mick had launched into a tirade about Billy stealing his solo. Billy tried to shine him on, but he wasn't about to apologize to that horse's ass. Everyone knew that on his worst day, Billy was 10 times better than Mick McAvoy could ever hope to be. Things had gotten ugly. He'd been getting up to leave when Mick threw the first punch. He missed, but it didn't matter. Not since Billy was 10 had anyone taken a swing at him and walked away in one piece. His fist connected with Mick's jaw. Mick's feet flew out from under him, and he rolled ass backward over the bass player who was on his knees doing lines of coke off some groupie's tits. It had been pretty comical until Mick fired him. The rest of the night had been spent nursing his ego and a bottle of Jack. Things with the band had been rough, but last night's show had been amazing. And now it was over. Billy glanced at his watch. A little past 11. Plenty of time to get home, although the thought of facing Katie made his head throb. "Happy birthday, babe. I got fired." That was going to go over real well. The rumbling of his stomach reminded him he hadn't eaten, although the thought of food nauseated him. Or maybe it was the heat. If he hadn't lost his driver's license, he'd be on the road by now. In the meantime, he longed for a little hair of the dog and a shower. He'd been so out of it last night he'd lost track of time. Not only had he not had time for a shower, he'd almost missed his plane. He dug a toothpick from his pocket and clamped it between his teeth. Maybe that would get his mind off wanting a drink. A horn blared. "Finally," he muttered as Eddie pulled up to the curb. He threw his duffel bag and guitar cases in the back and slipped into the front seat, while Eddie loaded his suitcases into the cargo area. "Sorry about last night, man," the drummer said as he navigated the rented SUV onto 78. "But you were amazing. Holy shit, you should have seen Mick's face. He was acting like the big man giving you the spotlight, but I could see that little vein pulsing on the side of his head. It felt pretty good. Hope I get to feel that way again someday." "It'll happen, brother. God doesn't give you that kind of talent to hide it under a bushel. Know what I'm saying?" "I hope so." Billy lowered his seat and closed his eyes. The cool breeze from the air conditioner soothed his aching head. "Thanks for the lift. I was hoping my kid would pick me up, but I forgot he's working at some camp in Colorado." "No problem. I enjoy the company." They drove in silence for a few minutes before Eddie spoke again. "Hey, I'm a bit parched. Okay if we stop along the way for a little libation?" Billy cocked an eye open. He needed a drink a hell of a lot more than he needed a nap. "I think I could be persuaded." Chapter 2. Kate hadn't even opened her eyes, and she was already hot and sticky. She squinted at the neon green numbers on the bedside clock, but they just blinked back. She had worked well past midnight, then driven home in a horrendous downpour. Too keyed up to sleep, she'd finished off a half bottle of wine and waited for Billy to call. But 3:13 had come and gone. No call. No happy